Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone, depending on where you have joined from. My name is IG Reddy. I'm your host today. First, thank you all for registering and taking the time to join us today for this webinar on accelerating innovation and delivery using Azure DevOps. I have a few housekeeping announcements before we begin. At any time during the webinar, please feel free to ask questions by typing them into the questions or chat window on your screen. Questions will be answered at the end of the session. Following the webinar, recording will be available and shared with all attendees. If you experience any technical issues, please visit the help menu in the GoToWebinar control panel on the right of your screen. Lastly, I placed all of you on mute to prevent any background noise. To provide a quick background on Abstract, we provide customized IT consulting services for companies ranging from mid-sized to Fortune 1000 enterprises across a wide range of industry verticals. Leveraging agile practices, our SMEs, architects, and associates build software applications, platforms, and products that become primary drivers of innovation and growth for our clients. Abstract is recognized for driving quality and speed to market when business success depends on the software applications. Founded in 2007, Abstract is headquartered in Edison, Texas, with offices in US, Canada, Middle East, and Hyderabad, India. Now, a quick intro into today's webinar topic. DevOps is a combination of cultural and engineering practices, patterns, and tools that improves organizations' ability to deliver applications and services at high velocity, better quality, with minimal security risks. Over time, several practices have emerged when adapting DevSecOps, CI/CD, infrastructure as code, monitoring and logging, application insights, and security. With Azure DevOps, can plan smarter, collaborate better, and ship faster. In this webinar, we'll be covering Azure DevOps ecosystem with an introduction to the technology stack, the services, infrastructure, security, monitoring, and other analytics. We also briefly touch upon the migration from the traditional Team Foundation server to Azure DevOps and Azure DevOps pricing. Now, to introduce today's presenter, Naveen Apsani. Naveen is a DevSecOps engineer at Abstract, having more than 7 years of experience in AWS, Azure, and DevSecOps extents. He has diverse experience in build and release management, configuration management, change management, containers orchestration, application environment control, monitoring and security, multi-tenant cloud applications, cloud migrations, etc. In the past, he has worked with organizations such as Dell and ServiceNow. I'll now hand it over to Naveen. Naveen, the stage is yours.
Yeah, thank you, AG. Hi, team. Once again, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone who joined this webinar session from different time zones. My sincere thanks to each one of you for your time and interest to join this session. So today our topic is about accelerating innovation and delivery using Azure DevOps. So in the agenda of this session, I'll cover the Azure DevOps, how it is open to the market needs, its ecosystem, support to security, monitoring, its pricing, and some of its major benefits. With this, let me get into a detail of this session, starting with some of regular introduction about DevOps. So I know you may be aware of this topic. However, I would like to give my version of detail here. DevOps is a combination of cultural engineering practices and patterns and tools that break the barriers between business and IT teams. It increases an organization's ability to deliver applications and services at a high velocity and better quality. In a pace, how the business is expecting the product to the market to capture the market opportunities. Over time, several essential practices have emerged when adopting DevOps. Like we can say it as continuous integration, continuous delivery, infrastructure as a code, security, and monitoring and logging, etc. So if we get to little detail about each of this topic, like continuous integration. Continuous integration is a software development practice where developers regularly merge their code changes into a central repository, after which automated builds and tests are run. So feedback loops here ensure the continuous error correction and vulnerability redemption at each stage in the DevSecOps pipeline. Continuous delivery. Continuous delivery is a software development practice where code changes are automatically built, tested, and prepared for the release to production. So infrastructure as a code. Infrastructure as a code is a practice which infrastructure is provisioned and managed using code and software development techniques such as configuration management, version control, and continuous integration. Monitor and logging enables every organization to see how the application and infrastructure performance impacts the experience of their products and user. Communication and collaboration practices are established to bring the teams closer and by building workflows and distributing the responsibilities for DevOps. Security should be a cross-cutting concern. Your continuous integration and continuous delivery pipelines and related services should be safeguarded, and proper access control permissions should be set up. So Azure DevOps. DevOps is now available in cloud native form too. And Azure DevOps services are the cloud native DevOps services. Azure DevOps deliver value to your users faster using proving agile tools to plan, track, and discuss works across your teams. Build, test, and deploy with CI/CD that works with any language, any platform, and cloud. Connect to GitHub or any Git provider and we can deploy continuously. Get unlimited code hosted, private Git repos, and collaborate to build better code with the pull request and advanced file management. Test and ship with the confidence using manual and exploratory testing tools. So create, host, and share packages with your team, and we can add artifacts to your CI/CD pipelines with a single click. So let me go into more detail about each and every topic. So Azure Boards. Coming to Azure Boards, nowadays you need a tracker to track all your ideas at a development stage and keep your team aligned with all the code changes linked directly to related work items. So this is what Azure Board does exactly for you. With Azure Boards, we can get your work done with simple and modern agile technology tools like Kanban boards or backlogs, dashboards, and Scrum boards. To adopt the tools to fit your team's needs and scale up easily, we can use a built-in Scrum boards and planning tools to help your team can run team sprints, stand-up meetings, and planning meetings. Build a tailored views of the data you need. We can also configure the layout that makes sense for your team. And also, we can easily monitor the progress throughout the life cycle of your project. So, gain new insights into the health and the status of your project with powerful analytics tools and dashboard widgets. Use the powerful and flexible customization engine to create the workflow that fits your team needs. If you're already using a GitHub, we can boost your team's productivity with the boards, backlogs, and sprints for even the most complex projects. Simply connect your GitHub report to Azure Boards and start linking commits and PRs to work items. Azure Board work with your favorite tools. We can integrate with like a Microsoft Teams or Slack integration to enable efficient chatbots. Pipelines. Pipelines automatically builds and test code projects to make the team available to make them available them to others. So Azure Pipelines. Azure Pipeline combines both continuous integration and continuous delivery to test and build and ship and build your code and ship it to any target. Its features includes like build, test, and deploy across any language and any platform like Node.js, Python, PHP, or Android apps or iOS apps. You can also run it parallel on any OS like Windows, Linux, and Mac OS. Deploy to Azure, AWS, or GCP or on-premises. You can also explore and implement a wide range of community build, test, and deployment tasks, along with hundreds of extensions from Slack to Sona Cloud. Support for annual reporting and any more. You can also ensure a fast, continuous integration delivery pipelines for every open source project. And we can also get like unlimited build minutes for all the open source projects with up to 10 free parallel jobs across all the environments, across any OS. We can also easily build and push images to container registries like Docker Hub and Azure Container Registry. And we cannot deploy containers to individual hosts or Kubernetes. It ensures a fast continuous integration, continuous delivery pipelines for every open source project. Take advantage of easy builds, chaining, and multi-phases builds also. Support for AML, test integration, release gates, reporting, and more. So, Azure Reports. Coming to Azure Reports, Azure Reports is a set of version control tools that you can use to manage your code. Version control system or software that help you to track the changes that you make in your code base every time, over a time. So, support for any Git client. We can securely connect with it and push code into a Git repos from any IDE, editor, or a Git client. Playbooks and API integration. Here we can add validations and extensions from the market, or where we can build our own using webhooks and REST APIs. So from the extensions in the marketplace, like we can get for performance testing, we can get JMeter, or even we can integrate with Jenkins, or even we can deploy the with AWS platform also. Test plans. So coming to test plans, here we can improve our code quality using planned and exploratory testing services for your apps. So capture rich in data. So here we can track the data and we can also execute tests to make discovered effects actionable. Tests across web and desktop. We can test your application by executing tests across the web application or a desktop application. Get end-to-end traceability. Here we can track the end-to-end traceability and quality of your stories and features. Plan your manual testing. So in this section, we can plan and execute and track the scripted with actionable defects to end-to-end traceability. To assess the quality throughout the development of lifecycle by testing your application. Use exploratory test methods. So if the requirement does not exist, then we can do one round of exploratory testing, which we will be exploring the application in all possible ways and understand the flow of the application, and we can prepare the test document and we can test the application based upon that. Azure Artifacts. Azure Artifacts can you can publish and consume different types of packages like Nugget, NPM, Python, Maven from both public and private sources. Share code efficiency. So here we can easily share your code across the small teams and large enterprises. So manage all type of packages, which will be taking care of all different type of packages like Nugget, NPM, or Python. add packages to any pipeline. You can share the packages, and also we can use in built-in CI/CD versioning and testing. And this Azure Artifacts is also in Azure. We are having one more feature, like Azure Artifacts is providing you 2 GB free store to every organization. Once we reach the maximum storage, we cannot upload the artifact. Either we need to delete the existing artifacts, or we need to go for payment option. Azure Kubernetes. Like as we all know, Kubernetes is an open source tool for orchestrating and managing many container images and applications. Here we'll use Kubernetes for deploying application deployments. Here we can auto scale our application by auto scaling pods by defining HPA, which means horizontal pod auto scaling. So we can use Kubernetes with the Azure supported regions and on-premise installation using Azure Stack. The images which we are using in AKS will come from Azure Container Registry. So using this Azure Advisor, we can optimize your Kubernetes deployments with real-time personalized and recommendation. So what are the features? Like it will be automated management and scalability of Kubernetes cluster for an enterprise-grade container or orchestration. Here we can also do an end-to-end developer productivity with debugging, CI/CD, logging, and automated node maintenance. And we can also do the advanced identity and access management to monitor and maintain the container security for governance at scale. And it will be also supportable for Linux, Windows Server, and IoT services with AKS deployment on the infrastructure. Your choice of using Azure Arc. Lab services. In general scenario, in the real world concept, I can say in labs we'll do R&D. For example, if any company wants to bring a new product to the market, in the lab they'll do in the development phase, or like for example, if a scientist want to develop any product based upon his formulas, he'll do R&D in the lab. Once the R&D is completed, they'll do testing, and everything is fine. We'll get the approvals and we'll launch that product into the market. In the same way, Azure is also providing a lab service feature. Azure is a service feature. Azure Lab Service is an Azure service to enable the lab environments in the cloud built from the collection of pre-configured VMs in a simple and rapid way in the Azure cloud. So example use cases. Development environment for the entire team. A group of testers requires a very specific VM to perform a testing. For example, here the testing team want to perform a specific scenario of test cases, or they want to implement any new changes in the organization. Instead of disturbing the existing environment, they can go to Azure Lab Services and they can procure a VM with the specific format which they want to do the test cases, and they can perform the testing. In the same way, the hands-on lab environments or training or hackathon environments. We can give internal trainings within the team if you want to implement, do the changes in an innovative way. If you want to deliver application in any innovative way or any product, first we'll do the demonstrations in the lab environment, and then we'll go into the live environment. Like coming to the benefits, it is an isolated environment based on infrastructure as scenarios. Simple and rapid, associated with the marketplace images and one or more shared galleries. Here everything was pre-built in the marketplace, so we can go to the marketplace and we can get the images of which version of OS we want and what is the RAM and GB and everything. So flexible. It provides the lab services to team members across any location from any device. Available connectivity to peer networks for shared resources like DBs, storage accounts, etc. Cost effective. It has an all-in queue pricing model to provide easy budgeting. Control. Provides control over scheduling and availability of lab resources to only paid for what you used. So here now infrastructure and configuration as a code. So if you see the pictorial view here, Azure Resource Manager is a native Azure service which helps us to provision and configure Azure cloud resources. If we understand what Azure Resource Manager does, is it interfaces between the methods of provisioning Azure resources. We can see how in the picture we can see how the provision is having Azure resources or Azure environment. So in real time and before this automation and cloud native, for example, if you are building environment, you need to will create for every environment it requires like OS patch update or database update or middleware patch update and security patch update. Here with the automation, we'll do all the scenarios which we discussed through for Azure cloud. So it's Azure automation. It delivers a cloud-based automation, operating system updates, and configure services that supports consistent management across your Azure and non-Azure environments. It also includes the process automation, configuration management, update management, shared capabilities, and heterogeneous feature. Here are some of the third-party integration tools which we displayed to show, like Terraform, Ansible. These are the third-party integration tools which we can integrate with Azure and we can build our infrastructure. Infrastructure and configuration as a code supports the third-party tools like Ansible or Terraform, which we discussed. So this is the complete pictorial view of how an application like infra look like. For example, if you want to host any application like it web-based or Java-based, we need application like middleware, backend, DB or storage, OS, VMs, networking, and everything. So this complete entire application is maintained and is managed by like monitoring service and log analytics and application Azure Insights. So we'll give a brief about each and every topic. Security. So in current scenario, every organization is majorly focusing on security due to malware attacks or data leaks, like these kind of scenarios. So if your organization is already using Azure, there is no need of specifically deploying security center. So in Azure itself is providing the security center feature, which natively monitors and protects Azure PaaS services such as Service Fabric, SQL database, SQL managed engines, and storage accounts. So if you see this pictorial diagram, here Azure Security Center, like Azure Security Center, this is the base layer for monitoring and security configuration and help in your workloads. So like I said, Azure Security Center can be defined as an overall security for entire management system that provides security to the data centers. It's not only offers the security to Azure services, but also secures other clouds. And it also defends threats that can cause vulnerability to data centers. So Azure Security Center collects events from Azure or log analytics agents and correlates them in a security analytics engine to provide you with the tailored recommendations. So coming to Azure Defender, advanced workload protection. So we can say that this is an advanced security alert feature that detects that defines the threat detection to certain type of resources can also be monitored by Azure Defender. So we can call it as like proactive security for monitoring for application. The Azure Defender pane inside the Azure Security Center shows you which workloads are protected by Azure Defender or not. So Azure Sentinel. Azure Sentinel uses AI Microsoft Threat Intelligence to stream to detect threats across your environment and correlates all the incidents, use deep dive investigation tools to find the scope and root cause. So this we can call it as the reactive. If your application is down, so we'll do the due to unexpected issue. If the application is down, we'll do the RCA where it went wrong and what happened. Azure Monitor, like Azure Monitor helps you to maximize the availability and performance of your application and services. It delivers a comprehensive solution for collecting, analyzing, and acting on telemetry from your cloud and on-premise environment. If you see this pictorial view, here we can see like how Azure Monitor is taking care of the entire infrastructure, like a data platform or application insights, containers, VMs, networking, and everything. So I can give a few scenarios or examples what we can do with Azure Monitor. So it detects and diagnoses the issues across platform, across application and dependencies with application insights. We can also correlate infrastructure issues within VM with VM insights and container insights. We can also create a visualization with Azure dashboards and workbooks. Support operation at scale with automated actions. It also collects data from monitored resources by using Azure monitoring metrics. Application insights. Like application insights is an extension of Azure Monitor and provides application performance monitoring features. It's a APM tool. We can say it as APM tool. APM tool is used for monitoring the application from development, testing, and into the production. We can categorize this into two different ways. One is proactively, and the other one is reactively. Proactively. Proactively means it understands how the application is performing. For example, if the application, we have kept the VM storage as 100 GB, we can keep an alert. If it reaches as 80 GB, it will send an alert to the respective application team that you have reached maximum size. Before going the application down and data is filled, please increase your memory. In the same way, reactive means it reviews the application execution data to determine the cause of incident. For example, if the application is down due to any new modification done in the code base, like we involved any configuration changes or like any data changes if the application is down. So first we'll bring back the application to the normal state and we'll do the RCA where it went wrong and why the application was down. So here are the few benefits for the application insight. Provides other features including but not limited to the specific set. Live metrics. It observes activity from your deployed application in real time with no effect on the host environment. Availability. It's also known as the synthetic monitoring, transaction monitoring. Probe your application's external endpoints to test the overall availability and responsiveness over the time. GitHub or Azure DevOps integration. You can create GitHub or Azure DevOps work items in the context of application insight data. Usage. Here we can understand which features are more popular with the users and how the users are interacting with your and using your application. Smart detection. Smart detection is nothing but it is an automatic failure and anomaly detection through proactively terminally analysis. Log analytics. Log analytics is a tool in the Azure portal where we can edit and run the long-run queries from data collected by using Azure Monitor logs and interactively analyze their result. You can also use log analytics query to retrieve records that match criteria, identify trends, and analyze patterns, and provide various insights of your data. Log analytics also provide the critical information about, about your logs recorded by the system. Like this feature provides the features to conduct an analysis to derive the result to under the incidents. It also monitors all the components in Azure. By continuous monitoring of the environment itself, it helps us to understand the usage of the platform, performance, and helps us to identify if any issues on the go. So we can also send data to log analytics workspace to take advantage of features supported by Azure Monitor logs, such as log queries. Migration from TFS to Azure DevOps Services. So why we are migrating? The goal of migration is to move your team from on-premises to TFS or Azure DevOps Services to Azure DevOps Services. Because now every organization is moving towards cloud. And here are the few why we want to migrate from TFS to Azure DevOps Services. Like we can get we can get upgrades for every 3 weeks. So it is a simplified administration and it can be accessible from anywhere. And it is the cloud first innovation which included with Visual Studio subscriptions, leverage developer services, scalable to any team, complaint, and choice of data location. Like here we are having 3 different types for migrating it from TFS to Azure DevOps Services. Like we'll have a quick look at how we can migrate. Like one is the first option is manually. Copy the most important assets manually. It is so far by the easiest option to moving your data into Azure DevOps Services is to manually copy your most of the important assets and start relatively fresh. This can be difficult when you are in the middle of any large projects, but you can make it easier if you do in some advanced planning, and we can schedule your move when it makes sense for your team. So high fidelity and database migration. So coming to this option, like first from TFS, we need to migrate to Azure DevOps Server. From there, we'll be having a tool to migrate from Azure DevOps Server to Azure DevOps Services. So basically here, if we are stuck with anywhere or if we are having any issues, Microsoft is providing us support to do the migration from Azure DevOps Services to Azure DevOps Services. So coming to the third option, using public API-based tools for higher fidelity migration. I can say it as in some way it is similar to the option one only, because in option one we are doing it manually. Here we'll be writing an automation scripts based upon our requisites, and we'll use the APIs to do the migration from TFS to Azure DevOps Services. So in this case, generally these tools can provide a higher fidelity migration than a manual copy of TIP, but they are still relatively low fidelity. So as we discussed now today's webinar in Azure DevOps, we are having like a lot of benefits, but here are the few which we listed out. Like global availability, hosted and maintained by Microsoft with 99.9% uptime guarantee and 24/7 support. We can also plan it in a smarter and collaborate better and even ship faster with set of modern dev services. Any developer, any platform, any cloud, complete support for your hybrid cloud, on-premises, and containers. You can use all the Azure DevOps services or choose just what you need for complement your existing workflows. Best in classes, glass builds for open source, like we can use up to free unlimited build minutes for public projects and up to 10 free concurrent jobs across any platform like Windows, Mac, macOS and Linux. You can also get started get it for free for a small team scales to support the large enterprises. Simplified development to Azure Cloud, deployment to Azure Cloud. So we can also get the immediate access to the latest features. Azure DevOps services are built on all great reliability, scalability, and standards, compliance that Microsoft Azure has to be known for. So here are the few compliance certification which Microsoft has provided. If you use Azure account, that your data is secured and everything. They have provided a few certifications. So the SOC audit for Azure DevOps Services covers controls for data security, availability, processing, integrity, and confidentiality. So coming to pricing, here are the here we listed out a few prices like for DevOps services, like individual service and user license. If you want to go for full pricing details, you can go through this link and we'll get the data. We'll get the full details of the pricing for Azure DevOps. So like global reach and local presence. We are headquartered in USA, and we are also having branches in Hawaii, Toronto. The EMEA headquartered is in UAE, and offshore excellence campus is in Hyderabad, India. So any Q&A?
Hello. Thanks, Naveen. That's very, very insightful. So I remind all the attendees to type in your questions if you haven't already. I'm sorry, like we're just we're just getting into the questions, so give us a minute. So yeah, the traditional development environments that are built on premises to the Azure DevOps or DevSecOps, so to say, is rapid provisioning of the environment, and then building those application pipelines, and then deploying them and monitoring them. So when you really look at the business decisions of alternate um, choices that we have in terms of a cloud-based development and operations environment, definitely Azure DevOps tightly integrated with Azure and Power and then other platforms from Microsoft definitely helps the acceleration in innovation, and even the SaaS application ecosystem is also adopting Azure DevOps in a big way. We have a few questions, but yeah, here is the first one. How is Azure DevOps different from traditional DevOps to support innovation and development? Naveen, you want to take that question?
SIG.
Yeah.
Like traditional DevOps, in the sense it is native of the DevOps. Like in the initial days, how the DevOps has been occurred, like it is how the DevOps has been evolved. So coming to Azure DevOps is native to the Azure services which Microsoft is providing, and it's also like Azure Cloud. It's having its own cloud. So it comes, like we said in the slides, it comes with the complete security features. There is no need of going for the third-party tools for the security and everything. Azure DevOps itself is providing a security center layer. It comes with all the standards which is maintained in the industry, and moreover, we'll be having some for Microsoft through all these years. We'll get some confidence whether if they provided some feature or security insights. It is quick, and it can be you can see all the things in one place. Like I discussed, there is no need of going for a Jira tool for tracking user stories and everything. Here we are having like Azure Boards where we can track our sprint planning, or from all the application workflow from designing to from business to delivery.
Okay. Sure. Yeah, that makes sense, because TFS integrating from requirements to the even Microsoft's application center testing, and so the security as well. So I think that makes a lot of sense. It's a cloud-based deployment. Thanks for that answer. And I think at this time we have few questions. We will reach out to the people individually, and we'll be posting this webinar replay and also sharing the slides with the attendees as well as the registrations. So thanks a lot for taking your time today, and have a great day. Thank you.
Thanks team for joining. Thank you.